I can't believe I'm doing this to myself again. The 100 book Read What You Own challenge is returning for its fourth year, and I am participating. Hello, welcome to my channel, Another Bibliophile Reads. My name is Greg, and once again, I'm joined into the fray, the 100 book Read What You Own challenge. This is the fourth year. It was originally created by the evil mastermind, Criminali, and it was sort of a penance for him when he started his channel. And he sort of was not completely truthful when he started his channel. So he decided to make penance by forcing himself to read 100 books that he already owned before buying another book. And a couple of other booktubers joined in. And I was talking over dinner, and I was telling my wife about these foolish booktubers who are going to try to read 100 books that they already own before buying another book. And my wife looked at me and she says, "You own a lot of books. You could do that challenge." So I was wrapped in, sort of my arm twisted for year one. But you know something? I actually really enjoyed that challenge. There is some self-restraint that must go on, but she was right. I own so many books. So many physical books, so many digital books, so many audio books that reading 100 books that I already owned before buying another was complicated. There were some issues. There were some books that I really wanted to buy, but had to hold off until I bought them. And when I was done with that 100 book challenge, and in year one, I was the first to cross that finish line, I was rather pleased with myself. It was satisfaction, saying this is something that I did, that I was able to do. I was able to control my book buying habit, and my book buying habit is pretty extreme. I'm mostly Kindle books, but I used to buy a lot of physical books too. And I joined in on year two. Year two, we introduced a tier system because there's a lot of people who wanted to join the 100 book challenge. But in all honesty, these people, they have lives. They have families. They may not read so quickly. And a 100 book challenge just was not feasible for them. So we introduced tiers. The platinum tier at 100 books. The gold tier at 75 books, the silver tier at 50 books, and the bronze tier at 25 books. So you had a lot of options. And honestly, we did not enforce those tiers that strongly. You could set your own limits to the number of books that you wanted to read before you bought another. Because like Criminali, like myself, some people have issues buying more books than they can possibly read. So this is the reason for this challenge. This is to get you to read books that you've already bought and enjoy them. Now, there are some caveats that people include, saying they're allowed to buy books under certain circumstances. There are no hard and fast rules. You will have to come up with your own legitimate circumstances for yourself that are appropriate to the way you live your life and the way you buy books. I'm going to name some of my caveats. Number one, books written by other booktubers. If you have a friend and he or she publishes a book, you're allowed to buy their book. Just buy your friend's book. Don't put it off. A lot of people have subscriptions to books. They get books in the mail every month, and they do not want to get rid of those subscriptions. That is fine. The one caveat that people like to say is that if you get one of those books in your subscriptions and you read it, it does not count towards your end goal challenge. So it's just a book that you read and bought, but does not help you cross that finish line. Another one, at least for me, is that I am a member of Kindle Unlimited. That is where you subscribe and you get to have a certain amount of books that you can download to your Kindle. Now, technically, I can cancel or suspend Kindle Unlimited, but I just don't want to be that kind of person that goes around, canceling or posting, what they call that, pausing your subscription. So I'm going to let my subscription to Kindle Unlimited stand, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to download my maximum of 25 books before this challenge starts, and I'm not allowed to add any more books until the end of the challenge. So those will be like a very limited window of books that I can read from for Kindle Unlimited. I am also a member of Audible subscriptions. I buy 24 audiobooks every year at the end of October, and they're just on my account to use when I please. I really do have to use those credits within the year, so I will count those books as books that I own because I have bought them. I will try to pre-select a number of books before this challenge starts, but honestly, that's not possible for the entirety of this challenge. So I am allowed to use those credits on my audiobooks for my challenge. Another caveat for me is, the BookTube prize and Buddy Reads. I volunteer to be a judge for the BookTube prize every year, and I'm going to do it this year. I do not know which books will be available for me until the beginning of next year. So in reality, I may have to buy one of those books to get my BookTube prize judging in on time. However, if I am forced to buy the book, I will not count it towards my goal. So that is just a book that I will obtain. And it will also be true for books that I get from the library for this challenge. If I get it from the library, it's just a book that I read, but I cannot count it towards my goal of 100 books. And that's there's one other one that I want to do. Collectible books. I like old-time vintage paperbacks. Sometimes you will see a very good deal on a vintage collectible book, and I will get it because it's a limited time deal. Someone else will snag it. I just can't say, well, hold off selling that book until my challenge is done to the seller. I'll just grab them. They will not count towards my reading goal if I happen to read them, but I'm not saying no to collectible books. I am introducing one sort of major change this year. This is not a change that everyone has to join with, but in the past years, I have been rather tempted to read short books because a 150-page book is a lot quicker to read than a 500-page book, and it makes the challenge go quicker. So I read a lot of short books for the previous 3 years, and I don't want to be tempted towards short books every year. So I am introducing a new rule. You can do a page count instead of a book count. So instead of reading 100 books for your challenge, you have to read a certain number of pages. I was talking to Criminali on Voxer, and we sort of agreed that the average book length is about 250 pages. I actually think my average was a little shorter last year because I was focusing so hard on short books, but 250 pages is a good average. So if you want to join in a page count challenge, decide on approximately how many books you would have wanted to read. I always do 100. So my page count challenge will be 100 books times 250 average, or 25,000 pages to finish this challenge. That's going to be tough. I will include rereads. I will include my audiobooks. So that might get me down to about 20 or 24 weeks to finish this challenge. That is my goal. In the previous 3 years, I've done it within 20 weeks. I still want to do it in 20 weeks this year, but the page count is actually going to be a little harder to accomplish than just reading 100 books, because I cannot say that just to read short books, it's going to be a little harder. And I kind of like that challenge. And for you, you can make the rules for this challenge however you think fits your situation the best. I hope you join us. There is a lot of satisfaction in reading books that you already own and sort of denying yourself, withholding that obsession is to obtain more and more books. I'm especially bad with sale Kindle books. When they're $1.99, I just buy them like they're crack cocaine. So I'm going in to my abstaining period, and I will read my books, 25,000 pages, before buying another book, unless it's in one of my caveats. Thank you so much for watching, and keep on reading.